The historic One Fight Night 10 is now in the history books. What a night of fights. I've just finished catching up on all of them, so here are my brief reactions to all of the fights, starting with the main event. Demetrius Johnson retaining his flyweight world championship with a decision win against Adriano Moraes. Not the most entertaining fight, fair to say, but I think that was because of how good a job Johnson did in shutting Moraes down at every opportunity. Just looked a step ahead for the whole fight. My favourite part of the contest was getting to see Johnson get the kind of love and admiration from the US fans when he asked if they want to see him fight again at the end. That was a great moment. The face-off with Akhmatov felt forced. Didn't need that, to be honest, but I think that kind of took away from the moment a little bit. But great performance. I completely agree with Demetrius Johnson that he's the best fighter in the clinch that we've seen in MMA. Just a flawless game plan, barely got hit, and man, Adriano Moraes looks bigger every single time we see him. It's outrageous. But yeah, great performance from DJ. If that is it, then it's a good way to ride off into the sunset, defending the title and beating Moraes for the second time. Co-main event, Rod Tang doing Rod Tang things as predicted. I think it was an interesting counter from Tabarez to, obviously Rod Tang has that thing where he catches the front kick and then pulls you into the body shot, and Tabarez countering that by throwing an elbow was a nice bit of game planning, but he threw it again and again. He kept throwing that front kick, Rod Tang kept catching it, and he kept trying to set up that elbow, and it wasn't really landing as clean as he would have wanted, and he kept doing it. It was only a matter of time before Rod Tang countered that. He grabbed the back of the head and landed his own elbow, and that ended the fight in the second round. Just standard Rod Tang stuff, if we're being honest. Mikey Musumeci submitting Osama Al-Mawi. Good performance from Musumeci. It looked like it was going to be another stalled out one where he's looking for that leg lock, but he kind of, as he said in the post-fight interview, he finally was like, what am I doing? I'm not a leg locker. Let's just get the back and get the choke. And man, Musumeci is just another level right now. And I think that this matchup is the best example of that he's had in one championship so far. Stamp Fairtex looked like an absolute superstar. Of course, the dance, but also in the cage. That body shot was ruthless to end the fight, and she looked great up until that point as well. And she spoke a bit of English as well, which I thought was a good effort from her. I know that it was only the first answer or so, and then she went back into her native language. But yeah, I was impressed by that, and like I said, she looked like a superstar on that stage. So good stuff from Stamp. Sebastian Kattar versus Roberto Solidic delivered on the hype. As Kattar said, he was going in there to kill or be killed. And man, I thought Solidic was going to get him out of there. He was landing fairly consistently. Kattar was doing a good job of not letting anything land too clean. But I just thought Solidic was setting him up perfectly in that first round. Kazakhstan barely threw anything in that first round. It was quite strange, but he was just weathering the storm, and then obviously lands those big shots in the second round. Dropped Solidic a few times. Solidic did a fantastic job to recover from some of those, to be honest, and keep fighting, but it was only a matter of time before Kazakhstan found that shot, because Solidic was all over the place. I'm gutted for Roberto Solidic because I'm a huge fan. He's had two kind of not ideal fights so far in one championship, but I'm sure he'll be back. And a huge win for Sebastian Kattar. Sage Northcutt, first round knee bar. Who would have thought it? When he didn't really get dropped, but he got hit with that jab and went down. I don't know whether it is whether he actually dropped him or whether Sage was falling at the time, but it looked bad, and I was like, oh no, this is not going to go well. They're talking about the injuries and stuff like that. I was like, oh dear. And then he just pulls off a knee bar. Fantastic stuff from Sage Northcutt. He clearly has been working a lot in the years he's been gone, and gets the result because of it. So fair play to Sage. Very excited to see him back in there, man. Him calling Chatri Mr. Chatri, it's just, Sage hasn't changed one bit, has he? And he's definitely better than the last time we saw him, so that was good to see. Ongla versus Fang was a great fight. I thought that Ongla was doing a really, really good job, but it was a close fight until Fang landed that shot and had him rocked, and then he goes in for the takedown, which I was waiting for from Fang. I was like, why is he not shot yet? He shoots and he gets guillotined. Man, Ongla must have some strength. That choke didn't look ideal, and Fang was tapping straight away. So huge win from Lan Sang, his 3rd consecutive finish. I do think he will probably get that middleweight title shot next, maybe one more, but I think now would be the good time to pull the trigger on that for Derrida. Speaking of Renier Derrida, he went to a time limit with Tai Rutulo. Tai got the decision win for his aggression. There was no submission attempts recorded. I think Renier was a bit annoyed because he felt like he had one. It was not the best contest, if we're being honest. I know the commentators kept saying it was the best stand-up grappling match they've ever seen, and it was like interesting at points, but kind of failed to catch fire. Just the size difference between the two seemed to be a bit too much. Like, Renier was not going to let Tai dictate where the fight goes. He's not going to try and play off of his back, so it just didn't really catch fire. But yeah, that was a bit. On the rest of the card, Jackie Buntan, great performance against Deandra Martin. What a knockout. She just looked so powerful and explosive, which if you've seen the training clips of her before the fight, I was like, Jesus, her cracking the pads. But yeah, it looked great. Deandra Martin just didn't seem to have an answer for her forward pressure at all. And yeah, beautiful shot to get the finish. Kairat Akhmatov dominated Reece McLaren with his grappling, like I think a lot of people thought he would. Good performance. Not a whole lot to say about it. Just, yeah, it was a decent display. And same can be said for Okra Yoon in the opening fight against Lowen Tainanez, where it was an all right fight. Oak did a good job of not getting controlled on the ground, and was able to kind of stay competitive in that range, and then obviously won the striking battle as many expected he would. So good performance for him. Good bounce back after that loss to Christian Lee, which could have taken a big hit on his career. But that is it. What was your highlight from One Fight Night 10? What fights do you want to see off of the back of it? And there you go, One Fight Night 10 in the books. I will catch you on the next video.